So another fantastic chapter and a great follow-up to the previous. I've been having a lot of fun with this fight and it's just continuing to deliver. But before we get into it, let me just say that I might have figured out what's going on with Higuma and like what his, I'll say, greater purpose is, other than just being like the first boss fight for Yuji. I'm thinking that he might have a face turn, meaning that like he's eventually going to either befriend Yuji, team up with him, or just become an overall ally to Jujutsu Kaisen. Because it doesn't really seem like he's too egregious of a villain, or even if he is truly a villain, you know? He's a gray area character. And it really took this chapter to solidify it for me because it goes more into like how he acquired his points and just the finer details about him, which we'll get into. But it's all telling me that this is going to be an eventual ally to them because obviously they need all the help they can get at this point. And yes, now they have a Kotsu, Maki, and Hikari, and that's great, but it's still not enough because it's also implied that the Culling Game has like a lot of sleeping giants in it, like a lot of really powerful people, some that could be rivaling Sukuna's power. But we also have to go back to, there is a reason why Higuma is in the Culling Game, and there is a reason why Kenjaku marked him and gave him this curse technique. I mean, it's not a coincidence that Kenjaku chose a lawyer to have this curse technique, but I also don't know if being marked by Kenjaku means that you have to be subservient to him, or if you have to like lose morality or whatever, because that's also a question going into what's going on with Sumiki. Like, she has a curse technique right now because she was also marked by Kenjaku, but has her personality also changed? Is she subservient to him now? We don't really know. And also, I thought it was interesting that Judge Man's ability is that like he knows everything about who is ever in the domain with him. And I thought, okay, well maybe now Kenjaku wants him to use this deadly sentencing domain technique on a specific person in the Culling Game. Obviously, they can't be too powerful because they'll just overpower it, such as like Sukuna using Malevolent Shrine. No way deadly sentencing can stop that. But just a lot of questions here because we still don't know all of the intricacies of Kenjaku's plan. We kind of just know the beginning and the end of it, and a little bit of the middle. But anyway, we're picking up from the end of the previous chapter where Yuji had lost that initial deadly sentencing trial and lost his ability to use his cursed energy. And he's just getting whooped up by Higuma here, who I guess is using his base curse technique, which just gives him this awesome gavel that he can like control the shape of, control it telekinetically, make it go invisible and stuff. It's pretty cool. It really reminds me of like a Shikai from Bleach. I'm actually thinking that like maybe Higuma might be the most Bleach-like character in the series because the gavel is so much like a Shikai, and of course deadly sentencing is domain expansion. It's just like how a Bankai would be. I mean, obviously you could draw other parallels to other characters with that stuff in this series because Gege is very influenced by Bleach, but just more so with Higuma here. And that's not a bad thing. I think it's well executed. But it's also further explaining how Higuma is not only like a conventional genius, but also just like a genius for being a sorcerer, which also goes into why Kenjaku probably picked him. I guess because he knew that he'd pick up these abilities very quickly, because it says that he acquired this curse technique only 12 days ago. And he's such a genius at being a sorcerer that he's already at grade 1. It also explains the whole domain expansion thing because I was wondering how he had it so fast. Because we've seen other grade 1 sorcerers who don't even have a domain expansion, and if they do, they're not even complete. But he has like a full-blown domain, just like how any other sorcerer would. That's apparently because it just comes like that with the curse technique, which is cool because all curse techniques are not created equal, obviously, and some just come preloaded with the domain expansion on them. You don't have to unlock. But anyway, Higuma then starts to realize that there's something different about Yuji because confiscation, the end result of deadly sentencing if you lose the trial, is supposed to take your ability to use your curse technique. But since Yuji doesn't have a curse technique, it took his ability to use cursed energy. And Higuma is putting that together here and also realizing that Yuji must be a tank in order to put up the defense and take the beating that he is here without the use of cursed energy. That's because Kenjaku, pretty much confirmed at this point, purposely made Yuji to be the vessel for Sukuna. So he's inherently super powerful, even without using cursed energy. And throughout this, Yuji has been able to mount a pretty good offense and defense too. Like, he's not just getting completely clobbered here, but it's definitely not trending in his favor. It eventually gets to this point where Higuma Higuruma like grows his gavel to the cliche massive anime mallet and slams it down on Yuji, but he's just like too resilient because, like I said, he's the vessel for Sukuna. Then Yuji has like a breakthrough and realizes that he can have a retrial with Judgment, and he like triggers the domain expansion again, and they go back to like the deadly sentencing courtroom, and Yuji's like, Judgment was the one who declared my guilt and sentenced me, and if I don't admit my guilt, I can request a retrial, and Judgment can't refuse. Then Judgment comes out with a new accusation, and this time Yuji stands accused of mass murder in Shibuya on Halloween. This of course goes back to the Shibuya arc when Sukuna took over Yuji like towards the end of it with the help of Jogo after he had 15 fingers in him, and he just went on like this malevolent shrine rampage, and as Judgment said, committed mass murder in Shibuya. And while it obviously wasn't Yuji that literally did it, it was Sukuna using Yuji's body. So then Yuji, in a twist, says, yeah, I did that. I'm not lying. I won't deny it. And we see Higuruma look shocked here, almost like kind of nervous as to what's going to happen. But Judgment, on the other hand, not only shows the most emotion we've ever seen from him, but gets livid and is like, guilty, confiscation, death penalty. And that's where the chapter ends. And I was like, no, even though I knew what was going to happen because I do the spoilers on Wednesday, I still was like, no, I need to see what's going to happen. But what I do think is going to happen, and it goes back to what I was talking about with the Sukuna stuff, I think Yuji might somehow know that there's like a loophole to this deadly sentencing. And it's because Judgment is accusing Yuji of committing mass murder. And it's accused because we know that he literally didn't do it. Like we said, it was Sukuna. And it's possible that Yuji might know that the deadly sentencing domain curse technique logistics might know that. And that even though Judgment just bypassed all of the evidence and all of that stuff and just went straight to the verdict, maybe it might stop Judgment, because I assume that Judgment even has to play by its own rules. So maybe it might like short circuit or glitch or something, because at the last second it'll like realize that, wait, it was Sukuna that killed those people using Yuji's body and it wasn't Yuji actively doing it. And then something funky happens and Yuji loopholes his way out of this domain expansion, and also in the process gets his ability to use cursed energy back, and then I assume just puts the beat down on Higuruma here, and then we get the Higuruma face turn, which I hope, because that would be cool. I really like Higuruma, and I think a lot of you do too, probably. He's kind of made to be likable here, which goes into another reason why I think he's going to be an ally. But, you know, he could just straight up die here. Like, Judgment might malfunction and kill Higuruma or something. I hope not. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I don't think Sukuna is going to show up here, and if he does, it's probably just going to be in the mind realm thing. If just for a second, maybe he makes like a comment or something. But if he comes out, I'd be really surprised. I don't think that's going to happen for like another 20 chapters. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the chapter. I really enjoyed this one. So much fun with this fight. This already is one of the highlights of the series for me. But let me know what you think. And if you like the chapter, guys, let me know what you think. What do you think is going to happen with this verdict here? How do you think Yuji is going to get out of this death penalty? Do you think he's just going to die actually and expect Sukuna to save him, or just Sukuna to bring him back to life maybe? Or maybe he's expecting somebody else to save him? So many options here. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. See you in the next one.